We do that when we don't have a slate.
I have 2 audio recorders, so that's what I do.
Technically, this audio recorder does both, but I don't ever do it that way.
Nice.
We've never uploaded the audio. We should.
It's just silent.
No, I mean we never upload it to like Spotify audio or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Or
just throw it in your track and delete the video. Hit render.
Throw out the track, delete video, hit
Boom.
render.
Boom. I don't know any other way to do it. If you're doing both already.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
Yeah.
I think that works.
That's how
I would. Honestly, that's how I would do it if that was the case. What's up, son?
What's up, son?
We can't get Nick to do the what's up, son.
What Nick do it?
What's up, son?
Oh, he's
nice.
Better than last time.
He's more of a station guy.
Station.
Always a station guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Joined tonight by Nick Comic Culture, guys.
Yes.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, we wanted to get somebody that was actually good at this
Yeah.
on the show.
At conversation.
Thought it would lift us up a little bit.
One take.
One take,
Mellow.
Nick. We've
Yeah.
seen him do it.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, I
I'm
think it's
just
the
a
case.
really good editor. I'll take that.
Well, Nick does the weekly new release features here in the shop for us, and so you've seen his face before if you watch those on Wednesdays. And Nick does lots of great things on his YouTube channel. Lots of course, if you want to know what he's reading and what's good and what's not, then definitely check out Nick at Night, because I know I do.
I think a lot of people get their suggestions from Nick, especially if they're in the indie world.
We've heard.
Oh, yeah. Definitely lean indie. A lot of cool, original, unique stories, things you haven't heard before. It's easy to write something new when you have brand new characters and stuff, right? It's like, how do you write something new about a character that's been around for 80 years? How do you stay fresh?
Indie,
I think it's clear that it's hard.
The collectability of indies is just awful, but the readability is excellent.
If you want good stories, I would go indie.
Yeah.
If you want a nostalgic dopamine hit, stick with the big 2 and roll the dice.
Yeah, if you want something different and you just like horror and stuff that's just kind of out there on the fringe and the edges, it's good stuff. It's I lean that way myself, but
and every 5, 6,
gotta
7,
have my
8
Batman though.
Well, that's true.
I'm a Superman, a Spider-Man.
Every 6, 7 years, you can get a Something's Killed the Children and make a buck or 2.
That's right.
So
that's true. But you have to fill about 20 long boxes before that happens.
Yeah, fair enough.
True story. We specifically changed our buying strategy so that you could read number ones. And I know you got a deep list.
I could read number ones?
That was kind of a part of it, yeah. We wanted like I'm not going to go buy issues 2, 3, and 4 unless somewhere between the 3 of us, we've sat down and read some of these number ones and went, okay, yeah, this is great. Because I can't remember if I said, hey, Nick, you need to read Indigo Children, or if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Because I
think we both did it at the same time.
Maybe on that one for sure. I was like, this is actually a really good story.
We pre-ordered it.
Yeah, there weren't many, especially on number ones. But
I'm an image mark, so
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But if you can get those number ones out there, something like Indigo Children, second, third, I think it's on a 3rd printing now.
Mm-hmm.
So
something like that.
So then people can still jump back on those and read. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, in episode 18, we were talking about the prior to this episode, number 19, if you can count. But we were talking about we were really mostly complaining about the whole retailer foil thing that
the
Marvel did to us. But it kind of sparked the conversation about the big 2 and Image leaving Diamond, and then Distillery.
Distillery.
Vowelless title Distillery.
Yep.
We were talking about people will, and they always have, just will buy Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
And care, even if the stories aren't that great,
they'll
they'll just keep buying them.
Yeah, because they like Spider-Man.
But with Distillery, you're going to get all these great independent writers that are starting this company, and but the same thing kind of happens with that, because we don't have to necessarily sell these big titles, the big 2 and these characters, but when we have to do a selling job is when we're selling indies. Because read the story, so that I feel like Distillery has that problem ahead of them. What do you think?
I think the people who are going to be interested in Distillery are big fans of the creators on Distillery.
So they're going to be indie-minded people,
of course.
Anyway.
Yeah, they're going to be big Scott Snyder, Ram V, James Tynion, the list goes on.
But all those names have have done work for the big two.
For sure. But I think that they're
in Image.
Of course, but I think their independent work is stronger than probably the big two stuff.
I agree. I don't think they put a lot of energy into their big twos. I think it's just feathers in the cap. It's like, oh, I worked on Batman and ruined it.
Yeah.
I think they have less editorial shackles.
Well, that's true. You don't have it. I mean, they're all creator-owned.
Right. Of course.
IPs, Yeah.
So
So are you excited about Distillery?
I am, yeah, because like I said, I like Tynan. He's a good writer. I like Scott Snyder. He's a great writer too. But like, their writing's very formulaic. So I think I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna enjoy it. But I'm really excited for like people like Ron V.
Yeah.
When I hear Ron V's going anywhere, I'm buying everything he ever writes.
Yeah, he's your dude.
Yeah. His worst stuff is Big Two stuff, but Swamp Thing is one of the greatest books I've ever read. So he did a great job. So I'm excited for it. We'll see what happens. But I'm an early adopter of a lot of things like Substack. I was all about some Substack in the beginning too.
Yeah.
That enthusiasm has faded over time.
Yeah, but it really has. I don't hear as much about that as I used to.
But I'm an early adopter of a lot of things, so I'm going to check it out for sure.
Yeah, I will say that about you.
Yeah.
NFTs, Substack.
Are you still doing the NFTs?
No, I liquidated everything.
Really?
When I noticed everything was going down, I went ahead and just liquidated it.
Yeah, I thought that was going to die out.
Well, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of time to it's like the stock market. It really is.
I went and saw my lawyers once, and they were like talking to me out of the side of their mouth because they were buying NFTs.
Yeah.
I was like, am I getting billed for this? I'm like,
well, it was, it's a gamble. It's not, it was a low investment gamble with bad odds to get in. But as soon as you got in, it was like, at the time I was into it, it was always a profit. But it was a gamble every single time.
Yeah.
I was just extremely lucky, and then I just let go of everything.
Yeah.
So it's still going on. I still watch it, but I'm like,
Right. Yeah. It seems like it would be easy to get scammed. Like, when was like when NFT was over? What are the signs? Like, I don't know, but when I saw that Donald Trump had his own NFTs, I was like, okay, it's probably game over.
Best commercial for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It was good.
But when you have like,
wait, there's a Donald Trump NFT commercial.
It's like 3 minutes long.
What?
Or longer.
How have you not sent me this?
I thought I did.
No, maybe you did. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I think I did because I was like, this is fantastic. You've got to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, like, can you find that, Matt?
Huge. It's the best NFT.
You almost think you're watching a Saturday Night Live skit.
It's
until about halfway through. You're like, wait,
yeah, you're exactly right.
This is real.
It's real because you don't know. Is this for real?
Oh, we're gonna pull it up in our.
We're gonna try to find it. I mean,
yeah.
I think it. I gotta. Did you send me this, Joey?
Pretty sure. I have
trading cards.
5 people that I send these things to, and you're one of them.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
It's
record flow.
Yeah, it's good. Look in the click videos. It'll be on there. There it is.
Commercial.
Numero uno.
Oh, it's only a minute. It felt like an hour.
Wait,
Trump hour. Let's say he's shooting fire out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Off the rip, you're like, what? But then he's talking about it.
Better than Washington.
I think they knew because they had to have him actually talking about it.
Is it actually real though, and it's not like AI?
No,
it is real.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely AI.
You definitely didn't send me this.
Is that domain still open? Let's see.
Look
CollectTrumpCards.com.
at that.
$99.
Yeah, you get like a whole set.
I just don't feel like the people that buy NFTs are big supporters of Trump, but then maybe
I think
I'm wrong.
It's the other way around. I think the big Trump supporters would buy these NFTs.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the NFT people.
They've never heard of it.
Yeah.
They'll never buy another one, but they'll buy these. Yeah,
that's an awesome one though.
Yeah, the golf.
No, the golf.
One of my.
If it was lenticular and you can like rotate it digitally on your phone and then you can see the shine and stuff, that would have been great.
Was that his autograph?
It is. It's a bunch of vertical scratches.
Yeah. Actually, has a pretty good looking autograph.
Yeah.
The gold bars. Yeah.
You can't make out any letter, but it's
because he always say that's not me. I didn't sign that.
NFTs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, when payout came around, I was like, time to go.
Time to get out.
Got out of it.
Because everyone at that point was like, oh, now this monopoly money is real money, and I can get out now.
So
prices crashed.
So before we go a little further down this conversation, guys, y'all take a minute to like and subscribe this video. Follow us, on our social medias at Cadets Toys, and check us out at cadetstoys.com.
Mm-hmm.
Our subscription services. You can check out our toys, Let us know what we can do better on our website because we're always trying to improve it. And if by any chance you're in the Middle Tennessee area, swing by wonderful Spring Hill, Tennessee, and stop by the shop and see us. And we have a sign.
You can actually set up your pull list on our website.
And we'll ship it.
So it's like super futuristic stuff. Yeah.
And
we don't do it with a spiral notebook.
No, or it looks like a piece of paper, like a spreadsheet. That's what Great Escape does. They write it down.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of guys still do that. Spreadsheets all day.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
I
can't say like we've had our
problems
with still do.
Yeah.
I never got a response back from him, by the way.
Works ever from any of that.
When I sent him that whole detailed like screenshot thing, he goes, "Wow, it's going to take me a week to go through this." Well, it's been over a month.
Yeah, we've had it's not been without its problems, but we've had a pretty good run so far since then. Yeah. So we'll see.
And while you're at it, give Nick at Common Culture a big like and subscribe. Go follow his channel. He's got a lot of content on there.
A lot of all the time.
YouTube and Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And tell us about your little posses that you run with online. They maybe.
Oh, PCP Army Bad Batch.
Yeah, yes. PCP Army Bad Batch.
Great guys. It stemmed out of the Pop Culture Philosophers YouTube channel. Rockin' Robbie Billups, great guy. We all met in the back chats back in like 2020, 2021, things like that.
Nice.
And then eventually you get enough videos, you recognize screen names, you know what I mean? And then you start having this like camaraderie, and then you meet on Instagram, and then you have back chats, and then all of a sudden like a couple channels spin out, and then
podcast series.
You're like, yeah, we should brand this whole thing.
You got a family of
create a spinoff, and it's been great ever since. So really cool guys. You got to check them all out.
So a lot of links there.
Yeah, they're all linked in my descriptions and every one.
And we'll tag them in ours too. So I think
sure. So absolutely.
Be sure to follow us
if we remember to do it.
So Joey, man, what happened in the shop today?
Well, today was a pretty steady day. It's a Sunday. And
hit or miss.
Yeah, it's always a hit or miss day. Yep. But Sundays can be really good sometimes, and because it's a weekend day. Our slow days are always like Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Mondays, I guess I should say. But
DC Day is slow.
DC Day is...
It's not slow online because that's when invoices go out, and all of a sudden they're like getting pinged with invoices. But not everybody runs in and picks up unless it's...
That's true.
However, there are people that come in Tuesday night.
Sure.
There's usually a group of people kind of come in and grab on their home from work.
Books, yeah.
Because they're like, I want to get them before.
That makes sense.
But... no, Mondays for sure.
Mondays for sure, yeah. All our shipments.
And the only reason I think we're open on Mondays is because Joey and I were here anyway.
Yeah.
And we were like, might as well be
open. And the shipments come in.
Yeah.
And so we're doing pulls, so.
Operational stuff.
Except FedEx still thinks we're closed on Mondays.
Might as well just keep it open.
And
let people come in and buy something if they want to. But today at the shop, it was... still selling. I bought a pretty good toy collection on Friday morning, and
it gave us a big weekend.
I know that you sold through a lot of that on Saturday.
Well, I sold a lot of the heavy hitters.
Yeah,
like TMNT.
Yeah, that Nick wanted.
You missed that by like 4 hours.
That's
4
okay.
hours.
That's okay.
Yeah, but that gave us a nice boost in our little shop, and then today it's just been a lot of it's been back issues, but it's been a lot of trade paperbacks. So
that's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's real good.
So
sometimes we tend to not think about trades. Like usually when we're ordering, like the distributor will offer, these are available this week. These are new printings, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I sit and go, oh, let me dive in here and see what we're missing. But the other day I went in and actually ordered volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Nightfall. I was like, we haven't had those in months, and I'm like, we should probably have some of those.
Well, I sold.
And it's finding what people
to one person at one time.
Yeah, it's finding what people like when people want to come jumping on a character or a title. It's finding those good stories where they can kind of jump in. Obviously, we can hit the DC a little bit easier for me and Joey, but Marvel sometimes we just kind of got to hit the high points. And Penguin is very. I mean, every week they're offering some kind of omnibus, but it's like we drop the coin for 2 or 3 omnibuses per week.
Well, Marvels are more expensive than DC's on their trade paperbacks, but mostly like where there's a $19.99 with DC, it's going to be $30 with Marvel most of the time. Marvel has a lot of $40 ones, but it's definitely something we need to.
It's just
keep
how
a
they
close
package them.
eye on, because like today somebody said, "Do you have this?" and they showed me their phone. It was like, a death in the family. No. Why?
We haven't ordered it. We need to look at that.
Like, why don't we have?
Like, especially those Batman heavy hitters. You know, Death in the Family, Long Halloween, Year One. I don't know.
We've had them
Hush.
always. You know, that we just need to replace them every time that they're sold.
Now, No Man's Land, I think, is a great story. It's just very, very long, and like, there's no way to like either you buy it in volumes, which is kind of hard sometimes to put together, or I don't know if they even print those anymore, or you get the big omnibuses, which are
right.
Do you like reading books in an omnibus format? Because they're real clunky.
No, I don't, honestly. I prefer trades if I'm going to do that, or deluxe hardcover.
I agree.
Omnibus, like I have.
Deluxe hardcover is going to be bigger too.
Yeah, they're like they're huge. But I have Invincible Volume 1 and 2 omnibus, and like I'll never crack that open probably, because I know guys that had like the Spawn omnibuses, part of my Big Herm collectibles, and some other folks, they went through that Spawn compendiums.
Yeah,
and they're just like paperweights. You know what I mean? It's just insane.
Well, you get I was Saga. We had.
I could read Saga. Yeah.
Well, we had one. We had a few compendiums that we bought, and one of them just looked like somebody spiked it like a football on the concrete. So I just took that home and started reading through it. But it's just like you can't do it anywhere, but unless you're on a table, sitting in a chair, and flipping through it like this.
you can't like lay in the bed and read that.
Well, and the fold probably takes up a lot of the art too. So like you can't lay it flat.
That's a very good point.
You know, and even a trade you can't really lay flat. But if you had a hardcover, it tends to open up wider.
Yeah, so and you get that.
Hardcovers are the way to go. Oversized hardcovers.
Absolutely.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't really get a lot of hardcovers
from a reading experience. Way better, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're always deluxe and they're always higher. So you're like, okay, who's going to buy this?
We should probably make a list of those. That's a thing to do.
Well, we did, or I started, but I didn't get much past Batman. So
well, I mean, there's like we should have had Flashpoint stories in here with Flash coming out. So people are going to come in. Oh, what? We might can still do it. I'm surprised Lunar hasn't been like, here's the Flashpoint story arcs. You know, it's like
some kind of a promotion.
Well, they did a Flashpoint floppy.
Yeah, but I don't think that was very. I think it might have been like an intro or it hit the highlights. It wasn't very in depth.
Yeah.
Because Flashpoint was it 6 issues? I think something like that. That's just the main story, and then like there's all the spin-offs of every character. What was going on? And
then Flashpoint Beyond, which came out late last year.
Yeah, but
this year, like which retold a lot of it.
I think it kind of went into that universe a little bit.
It was like a opposite version of that universe.
It's actually kind of. I hate the fact that it reset the whole DC universe, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of a pretty well put together storyline.
Yeah, a lot of thought.
Because there's so much going on in it.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a good opportunity to go, well, this is what's going on in this world. You know, with Thomas Wayne being Batman, and he actually will kill villains. You know, his wife's the Joker.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
it's kind of like DC's What If in a way.
No Superman. I mean,
vastly different.
Vastly different.
Yeah.
You know, and that
little anemic kid in
the big threat to the whole world is the Amazons versus the Atlanteans.
Yeah.
So like I said, there was like some good. There's some pretty good thought into that one.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Before we get too far away from the collected editions and stuff like that, do you guys ever see gallery editions, artisan editions being promoted on your distributors?
No.
You mean like that Jenny Frizen we had?
No, like artisan kind of, but like artisan editions where they go through like the catalog of a particular artist.
Yeah, we've had one for
like
Spider-Man, and we've had one for ASM. I think we may have one for Captain America and Hulk over there.
They tend to be hardcover, oversized. Like actually, the drawing paper outlines are on the outside. It's like scans of the original artwork, just pages and pages of that.
Like the layout sheets.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right, with the blue lines and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they don't promote that.
We have
not very often.
They don't. I've never seen them promote it.
Those are great too.
Yeah,
those are really good for like the people who are art minded.
Yeah,
that come in, the regular people like that. If they see their favorite artists, like
what edition?
With a gallery edition.
So you've got some. Who do you?
I bought that Lone Wolf and Cub. I got the whole back half of that whole run from this shop, and they have a Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition, Artisan Edition.
Nice.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that looks amazing.
Some beautiful art on that.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
but
I was really impressed.
There's a lot out there like that, though.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if we had any of those here.
Yeah, we had ASM, and I think we have a Captain America and Hulk over there in the show.
You had a TMNT #1.
Did I?
Yeah, hardcover. I think I bought it here.
Huh.
It went through all of issue #1, original artwork, and sketches and things like that. And it's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. I could see why. Yeah, because I did thumb through the ASM. I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Because it didn't. When you look at the cover, it's like it doesn't seem like that's what it's going to be on the inside. So
right.
Yeah, you kind of get the behind the velvet rope look of how those books are made.
Oh yeah. That opens up a whole new world for people who are into art.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I saw somebody that had an original. I don't know if it was a con or somebody brought it in with a collection.
Evan brought some in.
Is that what? It was Evan. Yeah, that's what it was. It was an ASM panel, wasn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
They're big. They're big on ASM. So
one of the swaps.
Yeah, they're one of the comic
that was
swaps.
Bagley art.
Okay. Yeah.
He brought it in.
Spider-Man Bagley.
It was. I don't think anybody did. Somebody buy that?
What do they call those proof sheets? What is it?
Just,
yeah.
Test of my knowledge.
But they've got all
something like that.
All the grids and
it's just original artwork.
Yeah, it's just original pieces, 11 by 17 or whatever that dimension is. I can't remember.
A lot of people don't necessarily do those anymore. A lot
of it's digital.
A lot of it's digital.
Yeah.
It's not like it was,
Well, this new book that we got, History of the DC Universe, has in the back some of those.
Oh yeah.
George Perez.
Oh, did you look at it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it has. It's got some pretty interesting pictures.
Yeah.
So, did we not clean off the table here, or is this just?
No, we didn't clean it off. We actually added to it.
Added to it. These are next week's books.
Well, we got to deal with these tomorrow, so I just figured we'd just have some fun with it and look at it and
anything you're excited about coming out next week, Nikki?
Man, I never know what's coming out. I just come in blind.
That's not true. I don't believe that.
Yeah, 2-3
months. Book of the week, Steelworks, #1.
Book of the week, Steelworks. No.
What? It is Book of the week.
Is it Empire?
Who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
Yeah.
Michael Dorn. Actually, I don't know who. It's somebody Dorn.
Sounds good.
Of course, in DC, you got to look at the back page.
This looks awesome.
That's a great cover.
Yeah.
It's like half retro figure.
Yeah.
Kenner, whatever the Star Wars brand was.
Who is Dorn?
Don't know. Daredevil should be pretty interesting.
It really is Michael Dorn. Is this like Michael Dorn? Like Worf? Is this Worf, Matt? Look that up, Matt.
I'm excited about Empire.
Do you know who Michael Dorn is? Do you know who Michael Dorn is?
No, I do not. If you're on League already, if you're on League, Matt, you can click on that book and then
Steelworks.
It'll show the artist.
Yeah, Matt's microphoned out this week. Yeah, we got to figure that out. You passed
it. A couple rows up
right
to
the right.
Yeah. And then scroll down and then click on the writer's name on the left side.
It's blocked out.
Steelworks, and then you can go down to credited. So not a whole lot of stuff on League of Comic Geeks for this particular writer.
All right, I got to figure this out. That's a.
I mean, but
Matt might read this just because just see how this guy writes.
Steelworks. What is the premise?
Writer, the voice of Steel in Superman animated series teams up. So he's the voice of Steel in Superman animated series. That's an interesting choice.
So what is the premise of Steelworks? Synopsis.
Next Generation. Wow. Okay. He's been in a lot of stuff.
So it is Worf. This is written by Lieutenant Commander Worf.
Perfect.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
He does a lot. I didn't realize he did this much voice work.
A lot of those voice guys. You look at their credits at a con,
as
seen in, and it's like a whole paragraph full of shows you vaguely remember hearing about.
Yeah, they're all just probably on this list, and they just
That's crazy that Michael Dorn. I had no idea.
Well, at least you recognize the name.
Yeah,
I felt like it was a writer that I should have.
No. I mean, I know who Michael Dorn is. I mean, it's like, I mean, so does Matt. I mean, Matt would be probably chiming in like crazy right now if he had a mic back there. But it's for those of y'all who don't know, Michael Dorn played Lieutenant Worf in Star Trek: The Next Generation. I guess I didn't realize he was that big of a voice actor. I mean, I know him from Star Trek, and the fact that he's written a comic book is pretty cool, and I might have to check it out and see how his storytelling is. So I haven't read this one yet, but I definitely
give him a shot.
Definitely give him a shot.
Still works.
And if he does it, knock it out. This is one of the variant covers. There's a ton of covers for this one in here somewhere, so it's just a matter of digging them out.
Yep.
But
well, just put that one to the side because you're spine.
So it harkens back to the real John Henry legend. Interesting. That sounds like something Michael Dorn would do.
Yeah.
Art looks pretty good. At least in that advertisement.
Yesin.
Yesin.
Be gentle with those books, Tommy.
Especially the foils.
Not got to
$8
the
foils.
I've not gotten to the foils.
The foils. We have a foil. At least they let us make a little bit of money on those foils over at DC.
Does.
Yeah.
DC still nice to you in the foil
so
business?
far, I mean,
so far,
So far.
we can't. They both have their faults.
Sure.
For sure.
I don't see too many foils hanging out very long in the shop, though.
That's true. We do have.
People
Believe it or not, we actually still had. We did yesterday. We still had one more of that Art Germ Power Girl
Power Girl
foil.
The cover A one,
Yeah, old Power Girl cover A.
So
I
guess if I'd had pulled the A cover, it would say written by sci-fi icon and voice of steel Michael Dorn at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
that would have helped.
That would have helped a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was on the solicitation. I didn't know, or I'd probably be talking about it a lot more.
Steelworks.
Steel's not really on my radar, so
no.
I probably Well,
you should probably read it though, because like you weren't big into comics in the '90s, so like this was a big character.
Yeah, for sure.
After the death of Superman, he was one of the.
Yeah, I'll probably check it out.
I mean, it'd be worth reading for your reviews.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
so we're gonna set that up.
I'm not, all the stuff that I review, I don't have any problem reading garbage. So I read as much as I possibly can.
I don't know. I mean, Michael Dorn he's an actor, but
yeah. Not to say that this is gonna be garbage, but I do. Take
but the artwork doesn't look bad either.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen worse.
I tend to take chances on books very often.
I mean, those Tim Drake books might be the worst art I've ever seen in my entire life. The fact that person got a contract to do DC Comics.
Well, that's true.
It's tragic. It is a tragedy.
Yeah.
Matt,
where we at?
We're 2-1 Yanks in the bottom of the 8th.
Nice.
Versus the Dodgers.
Just we like to keep it close. Like to make a game out of it.
I like to blow people out so I don't have to stress over it. Baseball, sports. So, yeah. Anyway, this is a comic book show.
Here's a question. So, Nick.
Yeah.
What's the buzz out right now in the comic world? What's everybody talking about?
What is everybody talking about?
What should we be kind of focusing on as a comic shop here? You know?
That's a good question. I think, there's a lot of variant buyers out there, that's for sure.
Is that really where it's at? People are only talking. Are they talking covers or are they talking story?
We're talking covers.
Really?
I think so. People like me are talking stories all day, and we kind of find our little group and we talk about the stories. A lot of the guys I roll with, they love their old school stuff, so they're really into like that kind of stuff. But it seems like there's more cover buyers than anything.
Do you find yourself like trying to go back and read stories? Because you said you're new to this comic thing,
pretty much.
But like
since like 16 on,
just so you can kind of keep up with what they're talking about.
So I'm definitely jealous of like their knowledge base.
Sure.
Even when I come in here and you guys are talking about like classic Batman stuff, I'm like, I don't know anything about that.
Well, I mean, there's people that put us to shame too, but like,
well, there's always a bigger fish. Right?
Of course, yeah. It's just crazy to me, like when Tom or Chuck comes in here and they're talking like, oh yeah, that's so and so did the art on that, or so and so wrote that book. And I'm like, how did you know that? Because when I was a kid, I couldn't have cared less who wrote or drew the book.
Yeah.
You know, it was more like, oh, it's just got Batman on it. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But I am trying to pick up some of the older runs. Like I bought Death of the Family here, and I read it shortly after.
Yeah.
I mean, like I can imagine being a kid when that came out and reading that.
It was emotional.
And being around that drama. That's
the Death in the Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sort of fell into our seriousness of actually buying books just at, like literally that probably happened, I guess it was 88, so we started doing it like maybe 6 months later, you know, and like so when we jumped in, you know, we had just missed probably picking up like certain covers, like that McFarlane cover came out right after that, and you know, Batman was the story, as far as story goes, Batman was still fresh on the heels of losing Jason Todd. And so when Tim Drake came along, it was like, oh man, they're bringing out another Robin.
Yeah.
Because for us, most of our lives, it was always just Dick Grayson, and then there was like Tim Drake, Jason Todd for just a little while in the comics.
Yeah.
But you never saw him in anything outside of the comic books. It wasn't like it is today where there's like toys and video games and spin-offs and all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So the fact that like, oh, they're going to bring out this guy, Tim Drake, and the way Tim finds out about Batman and Robin was actually kind of cool as a kid to read. And, you follow that for a long, long time. And then,
that's the difference in the perspective of a kid and an adult also, because when there was a new Tim Drake Robin, we were like, oh wow, this is awesome.
And he had a new costume,
but as an adult you're like, oh great, another Robin, here we go.
I didn't get excited about Damian. But my friend Dustin loved the Grant Morrison run with Damian, introducing Damian. He goes, oh, I think this is cool. For me, I was like, man, really, you got to bring somebody in. And at that point, I think, and that's when I'd kind of gotten out of it, really wasn't following the stories. So I guess I really didn't realize until I got back into collecting that even Stephanie Brown had become Robin for a while. But for me, it was like, I was excited about comics. It was really interesting during that time because it was Wally West was the Flash.
Yeah.
Tim Drake was the Robin. Kyle Rayner was the Green Lantern, because Hal Jordan had kind of had a meltdown. Superman had died. It was like, it was just and even though people look back on it and go, oh, that was the speculation time, Superman killed the comic market, and when Spawn and Image came out, all the people bought these books, and like, we didn't think about it like that. It was just, these were the stories that were going on. And I was actually curious. I knew Hal Jordan wasn't Green Lantern anymore. And I was like, I wasn't upset about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, what do they do with him? Like, they actually made him a villain for a little while, and I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I didn't really get bent out of shape about it, per se, as I would.
Right.
But like today, they're not really introducing like new characters as much as they are taking old characters and changing them, which to me is kind of a slap in the face to people who like grew up reading this stuff, And I'm like, who do you think you are changing this character? You weren't even around when they came up,
We talked about this a little bit on Robbie's best comics of the month. We had guest Joe Corallo on there, and he's a writer, editor, good guy. Lots of insight on comics today, but he had a good point talking about Punisher, because we were praising Punisher as being like one of the best Marvel books out right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were praising it, and then Joe's point was, it's another example of them taking a long-standing character and then rewriting the history and then drawing it out for 12 issues or whatever it was, right? It's like the net progress we made was so small, and with the majority of the story was a retrospective story that kind of added more context and more detail to his origin, which how many times have we gone back and retold origins before? And so what I took away from the whole conversation was like, it's easier to revisit stories and like add more context to them than it is to come up with something brand new, creative, that pushes the character in a direction it's never been before. Yeah. Especially characters that have been around for decades and decades and decades. It's like, where do you take Batman right now besides replace him?
Well,
or do you go back and retell a story or add
personally with Batman, I think they need to just like flashpoint this whole story and start over. That's my personal opinion.
It's a reboot of it's a new origin then. It's like, we've done this.
No, I don't know, man. Like, I think Batman is as jacked up as Star Wars. It's just.
But take Batman out, put Spider-Man in that. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's like, what do you do? Put Miles in there. We're going to retell a story.
And I'm sure this has been done before or tried before, but I think they just need to make a lane, like a sub label, under with Marvel, like DC did Black Label and things, where you just have Batman like style stories from 70s. In the 80s, and those fun.
They did that. Well,
books.
That's kind of the idea with this Infinite Frontier that they created, which is that all stories are taking place at all times in all parts of the universe. Because like when you're reading World's Finest, there is still an Alfred, there is still a Batcave, there is still a Commissioner Gordon in that universe.
Yeah,
Dick Grayson is Robin in that particular storyline, and for us, that's the best-selling DC book we have. Everybody loves that story because it's written by sort of an old school writer, and he's a writer. Where you're in these, especially in Marvel, you're in these markets where it is artist driven, artist driven.
Yep.
DC's
even
chief creative officer is an artist.
He's an artist.
Yeah. He's not a writer. There's no storytellers.
We're talking about that. It's just like there's no like those old school editor in chiefs. That's like
the people that weren't hardened as writers. They were hardened as artists. They were pushed as artists, and artists. And nothing against artists, because I grew up drawing myself, but it's like artists think differently. They want to create. That's why I remember there was this book that came out with Batman. I don't know if you remember. It's called Brotherhood of the Bat, and it was literally like they had taken concept drawings of Batman's costume in the 90s. Yeah. So it has like there's a bunch of Batman with like all these jagged capes and like fangs and claws and like all kinds of weird stuff.
There's gnarly stuff.
Basically, what they had done is they created a story called Brotherhood of the Bat, which was something where I think Ra's al Ghul had found those drawings and like created all these like Batman to it. Going to the Batcave and fight Batman. Of course, he beats
like
them all up.
Assassins and stuff.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, I get it, but at the same time, and I get that there are, and I think the thing about the writers is, this is the argument with the writers, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is the writers that are actually good are in the indie world. But when they do get to mainstream comics, like you said, they lose their creative control, or they don't like being handcuffed, or whatever the conversation is, but they just don't seem to shine on the big story arcs like they would if they were writing their own IP.
Yeah.
And I guess part of that comes down to like, I care more about my IP than I do about something that's been around for 75, 80 years.
Well, I think it's the same thing as like, if you discover a new band, you tend to like their first album or two more than their fifth or sixth album. It's kind of the same thing. It's like they spend so much time creating and like cultivating this idea that when they have an indie publisher that's letting them just do whatever they want to do, they can put their heart and soul in it and they can go in the direction they want it to go into, rather than if they jump onto a label or Marvel in this case, they're going to have certain restrictions and guardrails they have to abide by in a certain time frame to pump out content, right? So it's like, you got to meet your deadlines. You have to get the character from where they are to where we want them to be in 6 months, because they need to be over here for this event, and they have to add whatever creativity they can.
I also think there's this. All right, you could talk about Spider-Man or Batman, and as a reader, you could say, oh man, Batman back in the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, whatever, was like this. This is what they were doing. Majority of the people that are creating these books today weren't alive then.
No.
All right, so they're
playing catch
not, for the most part, they probably don't have those references.
Right.
They know what they think they know, which is like, I saw this on TV and a movie, and my friends are talking about it. I've read a trade paperback, or I got the highlights out of comicbookresources.com, whatever the case may be.
They'll send them a crate of comics before they start writing too.
They probably, or somebody over there sent them like a sheet that said, here's what the going on with
Cliff Notes.
Correct. And like, so they don't know the ins and outs.
Of course.
Like, I wish Matt had his mic on, because we could hammer this out all day. Matt and I need to do this podcast, but like, there is from in the thick of Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, probably all the way up to Enterprise. All right, there was one guy at Paramount
at the helm.
No, he went at the helm. He wasn't the showrunner.
Gotcha.
He was part of the team though.
Yeah.
And his whole job was continuity.
Sure.
So he knew every little detail of Star Trek, to the point where it's like, if a writer came in, a staff writer came in, or somebody came in and said, we're going to make Captain Janeway do this in this situation with the Borg, and he was like, no, you can't do that, because back in Next Generation, this is what we established.
Right.
Now, unless they can build on that or add to it in a way that doesn't break continuity, a lot of that went out the window once J.J. Abrams took over, and once they kind of started retconning stuff, and now, especially with this whole new direction they went in, and that's why nobody liked Picard the first 2 seasons, because it had nothing to do with what people knew.
Sure.
And you can argue, oh, well, we need new stories. Well, you can't complain about having new stories and then not like the new stories when they come out. However, there for me is an argument of, people are fans of things for a reason. People are fans of Star Trek or Star Wars or Batman for a reason. They like these certain things about them.
Right.
So when people say, oh, it's all about fan service, I'm kind of like, so there's certain things I want to get in my stories, but same time, it's like, I also get, the more adult you become, the more complex your stories, your characters need to become in order for you to stay interested in them. And it's weird how it takes those turns because some people are all about the nostalgic read. Mm-hmm. You know, some people just want something grittier, something darker. You know, The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, that whole thing was perfect for the time that it was in.
For adults.
For adults. For the people who grew up with Batman, who went through 66 Batman, the 60s Batman comics.
Right.
Even some of the silly things that Denny O'Neil wrote in the 70s, you know, where it's like, oh, wait a minute, Batman, I got to get my toothbrush. Hey, okay, that sounds all right. You know, that's the whole story. Yeah. But like, so when Before Dark Knight comes out, when that comes out and it's like at that time period, you know, it's revolutionary.
Yeah.
I argue that if he were to come out with that today, it wouldn't hold the same weight.
Yeah, it was so new and groundbreaking. Nobody'd ever seen Batman
dark
and
not since his inception.
Right, exactly. And because that was right when we started collecting, and that was a book that we wanted, but when we read it, we didn't understand it.
Yeah, we couldn't read it. It was way over our heads. We couldn't even, if we could find it.
We didn't like it, you know.
Well, that's what art does, right? It takes the current mainstream understanding of something, and it does something that's never been seen before, and it's forever changed from that moment on.
I do think there's something though that people get lost in if you try to do that with the mainstream. Like you can't always try to go color outside the lines.
I know. Yeah.
Because not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the majority of people are linear and they are process driven or step by steps or give me this. Very few people go, I love this creativity. You know, it's like
you got to have some stability and something
I do think there needs to be some balance. And I think the biggest problem with these big two publishers are there's just nobody in charge. It's kind of like the U.S. government. They're just people up there milling about, kind of like pretending to do things and, I've got free reign to kind of do whatever. And it's like there's no structure.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, do you think that, like, with these big name writers especially, like, on this side, these publishers don't have a old school, like, traditional editor-in-chief. On the other side of that, do you think that when they get these big writers on board to write these stories, are there any guidelines? Are there any like restrictions? Or are they just throw them the keys and say, go with it?
I think they give them.
There's a playbook.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely a playbook.
Yeah.
But I don't think that playbook is. I don't think it's. I don't know. It just seems like there's not a strong team that says, no, you can't do that. Because it's kind of like with sports. Nobody's going to tell a highly paid athlete what they are and aren't going to do. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do you make them work for you? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how sports are today. It's like there's no coach that's going to sit down and say, no, I don't care. I don't care who you are or how much they're paying. You're not going to play with that attitude. That's not how it works anymore. It's like, what do you need? Okay, gosh, we have to make this work. And it's stressful, you know, and the people that suffer are the people that are actually trying to enjoy this. That's my perception. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sitting in those meetings. I have no idea.
So when Tom King said, "Okay, here's the thing. I've got this story and I'm finished with it," but when you read it, you're going to see that Alfred dies.
I've heard 100 times that was all editorial. It had nothing to do with him.
Really?
I've heard it many times. I don't know.
Well,
Matt, can you
again.
Can
I think somebody
pull that up. Who killed Alfred? Tom King or editorial? You have the power of the Google.
Well, it's under Tom King's name, so he can kiss my.
Well, that's the writer.
Well, that's the difference between but that's the difference between seeing things as a child and seeing things as an adult.
But also
but you'll never forgive Tom King for that.
No.
But he was driving a car. But he didn't.
But Jim Starlin killed. No,
not Batman. Okay.
Jim Starlin killed. Jason Todd, and we don't hate him.
Bane. It was Bane.
So we're gonna get what happened in the story, Bane. But we need to know like who made the.
All right, Tom King didn't want Alfred dead in his Batman run.
Yeah, Screen Rant maybe.
You have misguided hate.
Of course,
Tommy.
we'd have to read this whole thing just to.
I have misguided hate. I didn't read this article.
The decision wasn't King's. King's appeared in the Word Balloon podcast.
Well, who do we hate then?
He revealed it was initially intended Alfred's death would be a fake out. When he told DC Comics of his plan with the character, he told them they told him the character would be dead. So he had.
They told him to keep the character dead.
Yeah, keep the character dead.
So who?
Okay, so
push back on the decision to keep him alive.
Who do we hate? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, who do we need to?
Yeah,
so let's just, the buck stops with Jim Lee.
All right.
So here's the thing, because I think Dan Didio was still there when that happened.
Yeah,
Thanks,
he
man.
was.
But here's the thing.
But you don't hate Jim Starlin.
So here, I'm turning my script in, right? And
He created Thanos.
I think I killed Alfred. Is that going to be a problem? Just keep him dead, because it'll make Batman's story arc that much better.
Well, he needs a little tragedy in his life.
Right, like he needs more tragedy.
He came back. We got little Alfred in the last Siddhartha.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think there's somebody out there that's like they think that this is what readers want. Yeah. But I had Tom came in yesterday and said, not Tom King, not Tom Taylor, but Tom McCarr. Came in yesterday and he goes, I think what most readers, viewers want with entertainment right now is something heartfelt, something with hope. We were talking about this about Game of Thrones. Matt brought it up. He says, this is Matt. We give credit to Matt. Says, hopefully I don't screw this up, but people aren't going to remember Game of Thrones 10, 20 years from now because it just didn't bring out the best in humanity. It was the worst of humanity. And people don't want to remember that. And I think that's the same thing's true with these comic books. Because you're artist driven with these dark, the covers are cool. They're awesome looking. But when you're trying to build stories around that, you don't really have characters that do what superheroes should do. They do what somebody that's really messed up. And that's how they're portraying Batman. I get it. The dude dresses up like a bat, right? Like it's crazy. He goes around night beating up on criminals. Like that's not what a rational human being would do.
Exactly stable.
But as readers, we have become so accustomed, I blame the internet for this, that everything has to be so real world. Like it's like,
sure.
Because people go, well, that's not what would happen in real life. Yeah. No kidding. It's a comic book with people that
the comic books. Yeah.
This guy could never do this in real life. Yeah. Nobody could. Yeah. All right. But that's not the point. The point is like, you've got to be able to suspend belief a little bit, and people have to use their imaginations, and go, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Yeah. And I think that's the real joy that people get from reading.
Indie comics? I agree.
Well, reading in general, indies are probably great. Like Indigo Children, I think what's interesting about it is like you're still wondering like, well, who are these kids and why are they in this situation?
Sure.
It's like,
but it's also very grounded at the same time.
At the same time, it's like, and you know why?
It's a good mixture
because it's a story that's pretty universal.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, people need a baseline. Mm-hmm. All right, and I've always said this. It's the reason why I don't think sports are as good as they used to be. Yeah. You got to have your fundamentals. Mm-hmm. If you master the fundamentals, and then you can freelance. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what makes it exciting because there has to be some sort of a baseline. And that's sort of kind of like my perception of these things. Now, who am I?
I still think it boils down to the fact that these characters have been around for 60 to 80 years.
It is hard to keep telling those stories. But I don't think...
What are you going to do? What Spider-Man story is going to shock us at this point?
Well, who cares? Like, my thing is like, instead of writing 12, 24-issue story arcs, just do...
6.
Just one. Just do a one-off comic, which nobody can write anymore. People can't write a story or two in a small comic. I mean, if you go back to these old comic books, these Silver Age and Golden Age books,
right.
It's like a 5 or 6 page story.
Batman 181 is only half of a comic book. Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
I did my key comic.
The second half of it's like
it's a whole different story.
It's like Green Arrow, isn't it?
No, it's
is it one of those detective
kids? It was a detective.
Yeah,
the woman and yeah. But I was shocked. I was flipping through. I'm like, this is only like.
Well, Detective Comics 27's got like
pages.
4 or 5 other stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people didn't realize that's a very short book. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, the stories people can't write. They have to draw them out, and I don't know if that's just to try to keep people to keep buying them. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that there's a magic bullet to fix all this, other than people just need to get better at what they do. Because right now it's a artist-driven market, and the good stories are in the indie books. And you're not wrong; they're good stories. I still enjoy Noctera, and it's 12 issues deep.
That needs to.
Or 4. They need to wrap it up.
But the stories now, though, they the one thing that I feel that they miss, they don't teach you a lesson. They don't they don't inspire. Because I remember reading and being inspired, either that to be a better person like
or
Superman, or just to tie a towel around your neck and pretend like you're flying, or to run in your bedroom and use your imagination and play out with your toys the story that you just read, or make up your own.
In order to do that, you have to sort of embrace certain conservative values that a lot of people writing this stuff don't want to embrace. They want to, and there's a difference between writing about social issues and politics. It's all very superficial if you really think about it. There's nothing that goes to the deep layers of what makes people, and sure, stories have done this forever, long before we were born. But that idea that, stories are meant to convey a moral truth about humanity. We have that since from the dawn of time. We sitting around talking about stories. This is what we're telling. I'm telling you this story, man, because let me tell you about Joey the Magnificent.
Because if it's impactful, it's
impactful, and you want to remember that. You want to remember, and because those stories also, you would draw from those stories. That was your history. That was like, you're guiding, so and so did this in history, and like, I want to be like King Arthur. I want to be like Gilgamesh or whatever the conversation.
And that story just grows.
Darmok at Jalad.
Right.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. That's from Matt, by the way.
Joey the Magnificent sounds pretty good, though. You should write that.
Yeah, well, I've got some ideas.
Joey the Magnificent. I think there's some stuff that's getting lost, and is comic books the medium for that? It's as good a place as any.
Well, I mean, it's idolizing people for going above and beyond and defeating evil at the end of the day. So, like, it's very very basic.
Think about why Superman was written.
Of course,
right? It's written by two guys who, wanted to portray a person that was all about strength, and doing the right thing and can overcome anything, and obviously he's an alien from another planet, and it's gotten more convoluted than that. But now it's even like that storytelling. Some people, I guess, they just don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear about like an all-powerful being that always does right. You know?
But if you ask anybody if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Flight.
They're gonna give you all the stuff that Superman has. Yeah, so, strong, indestructible,
cellular regeneration.
What is your superpower?
What's that?
What would be your superpower?
I mean, it would have to be.
You can have one superpower.
Yeah.
That you could toggle on and off if you need to, depending on what the power is.
Okay. Gosh. I mean, it seems like flight would be that, but I don't know. The dark side of me would say mind control.
Mind control would be
no kidding, like Professor X
for like manipulation purposes, and like walk into a bank, give me all your money. Things
the
like
dark
that.
side, the other side of me is to just to be able to fly or be indestructible.
Flight would be interesting, but I feel like I would get cold real quick.
Really?
You know what I mean? Of course.
You don't ever think about that. Or what if you got like you hit a bug going like Mach 1?
It's awful. It's awful. I've been on the back.
It would go through your brain, like
so you can't be indestructible and fly.
You'd have to be both. I would think you would have to be both.
Yeah.
Also, when you get up at a certain altitude, you're going to have a hard time breathing.
What's your power?
I've always kind of gone back and forth with telekinesis.
Moving stuff with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yoda? It's the Jedi in you.
Like something you have to concentrate on, or something you can like regardless of what it is, you can just
man, like you just do it. It's like it's a natural instant kind of
and
thing.
you have complete control. You can do whatever you
want.
want.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
So you're like Mr. Manhattan almost. You can like pick up whatever you want.
Mr. Manhattan's like all powerful.
He's amazing. He's a great character.
Dr. Manhattan, not Mr. Manhattan.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, that is. But like in episode, what was it? Which episode? Star Wars episode was it? Where it was number 2, right? Episode 2, where they went to the island and they fell in love. Or is that 3?
What are you talking about?
In Star Wars episode. Anyway, you were talking about telekinesis and about. I just remember that scene where he basically feeds her by picking something up, cutting it, and throwing it over to her fork.
Right. Oh yeah.
And she takes it, puts it in her mouth. It's like that'd be pretty smooth if you could do that. I remember thinking that. Yeah, it's like.
No, the other thing, like I was watching this show on UFOs today, and I was like, it's like the only way you would really ever get into one of these like classified facilities is if you were invisible. Like you could be invisible, like invisible to everything.
Surely they have like infrared.
Probably. So I'm saying you got to be invisible to every thing in the spectrum.
My superpower?
Yeah.
Speed Force.
Really?
Absolutely.
I could do that.
Being able to instantly make you guys completely still, and then I have complete. I can walk around. I can run back home real quick. I can use the bathroom. I can do.
Has it always been like Speed Force? You didn't even read The Flash.
I watched the TV show.
the WB
and
one?
I watched plenty of
the WB
I read
one?
plenty of Flash.
Is it WB or CW? What's it called? Is it CW still?
Yeah, with Grant Gustin. Yeah,
I watched that up until they got rid of Ralph.
They got rid of Ralph. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, I think Ralph got done dirty.
I watched it through The Thinker. So like I don't know, 7 seasons.
I don't know. It's over now. The whole Arrowverse is
just ended. But Speed Force instantly, essentially freeze time around you, and you can do whatever you want.
You didn't watch the
insane.
John Wesley ship version of Flash as a kid? You weren't even around.
No.
Well, there's a lot of things that could a superpower that could give you access to be able to either make money or get money, but having money would be basically the superpower that solves pretty much any problem to some degree.
Yeah, but like how many times?
That's Batman's superpower, by the way.
Yeah, just money, and he's a good detective.
How many times was like the wife's almost home? I didn't do anything yet today.
Yeah,
and you just go and you get everything done instantly. Like, wow, you really
honestly
did a lot of stuff today.
The only thing money couldn't fix though is having like
mental things.
No, the cellular regeneration thing where you're like you heal instantly, like Wolverine does.
Well, I'd have to eat a lot of pancakes and stuff to keep that Speed Force going.
Yeah, that'd be great. To donuts.
Just eat anything you want.
There's a little donut trailer out here. I don't think it's open yet, but
I haven't seen
it's
about
like
it.
They haven't posted about it even on their Instagram.
They close at 1.
So who eats donuts past? I would eat them all day long.
I don't, but I come here in the afternoon. I would love a donut.
We'll have to have a talk with them and say, look, our customers don't show up until the evening. And you're competing with the popsicle.
If they have any leftovers, tell them to bring them over.
The Paletta place next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things happening over here in the hill around the shop.
The restaurant.
There's at least 4 new restaurants, or will be, by the end of the year. There's
it's gonna be good.
Tower 33, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even live music on the weekend.
Is there a bar?
Yeah. And then up on the hill over there is
these poll videos are about to get a lot more interesting.
Bayleaf. Is it Bayleaf? Something Indian restaurant, which I've heard good things about.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. I mean, I'm not against Indian food.
As long as it's not orange, I'm down. A vat of orange and a vat of green and a vat of blue. It's like I'm into a lot of stuff besides.
Well, it's all chicken.
It is chicken, but like, yeah.
And then there's a burrito place up there now. I don't think it's open yet, but I think.
So if you're in the hill and you're visiting the shop,
you've got
choices.
Plenty of amenities around.
That's right.
And then staple of Sunny China that's been here for
30 years,
almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So you're back in the late 90s.
Sunny's a peach.
Yeah.
She's great.
So skip those fast food joints in the front and hit all the.
That's right.
That's right.
The
local back.
Businesses over here.
Support local.
That's right. Absolutely.
Speed Force would
come to our shop.
Speedy Nick.
Buy our book.
Get in
buy our books.
Buy our books.
That's right. Suggest things for the shop to expand.
Yeah, for sure.
Their clientele's interest stuff.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, this show series, and follow us at Facebook and Instagram.
Cadets Toys and Comics on Facebook.
No, it's just Cadets Toys.
At Cadets Toys.
At Cadets Toys.
On Instagram.
And Facebook.
It is on Facebook.
The same thing. And then
doing things behind the scenes.
Yeah. And then check out our website, cadetstoys.com.
Yeah. And Nikki.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to follow Nick over at Comic Culture. He's also got some Instagrams. And do you do TikTok?
No, I don't.
Just YouTube, Facebook, and
not really even Facebook. Just
Instagram
and YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
At Comic Culture.
That's enough things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna actually work on an auction this week here.
Oh yeah.
But did you know that we got
to get that out tomorrow.
We're doing it for a guy that brought in. Well, the most amazing thing was it was 30 packs of Pokemon that were from the first booster set,
no kidding,
unopened.
Can you guess how much each pack cost? Was on eBay for?
How many cards? 15 cards, something like that.
10
cards.
10 cards.
Do you know how much each
eBay?
Booster pack was on eBay?
I'm
sold. These were sold.
I'm gonna be conservative. I'm gonna say $80.
You know what was $80?
What?
The wrappers were like $40. Just an empty wrapper.
I knew if I said 80, it would be $300.
So a sealed pack is around $300.
That's $300
for a 10-card pack.
Yes,
a 10-card pack. Yeah, and then he brought in all the starter decks.
If we're wrong about that, people please correct us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can agree it's outrageous.
It was pretty good. And then he brought in like some starter packs that were about $50 a pop, and then some of the
initial those decks.
Starter decks, decks for like certain games.
But those first booster packs are where you get that crazy Charizard.
Oh, right.
That what's his Logan Paul? Is that his name? That wears around his neck? It's like that's a graded Charizard. It's like $50,000.
So you're gonna how's that gonna work?
We're gonna do Facebook Live. I was thinking about simulcasting, but I don't think we can do that just because it's gonna mess up like people bidding. That would be a nightmare. Lag. Oh yeah, we can't. We're gonna have to just do it on Facebook. Tell all the Instagram folks it's on Facebook. follow us there.
Yeah.
Why would it lag?
Just
Well, if you have
because
two
you're
different platforms.
two platforms and people bidding.
Unless you can condense the comments, it'd be like so hard to know what the bid is.
You can't, but because to simulcast on YouTube and Facebook,
well, we need
you
to
have
get
to
the
do
word
it on a
out
computer. To do it on
right.
Instagram, you got to do it on a phone, like something completely
You do.
separate.
Yeah. There's some hacks around it, but for the most part, it's
well,
really fun.
we are at a pretty good spot.
So yeah, stay tuned for the Pokemon Facebook auction. It's gonna be crazy. Get your wallet out.
Crazy.
Though.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well,
yeah.
It's been a great evening.
Yes, son.
Thanks for joining us,
Absolutely.
Nick.
Yeah, thanks for
Enjoyed
having
it,
me,
man.
as always.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yankees won 4-1 over the LA Dodgers. Win series.
Sorry, LA.
Matt.
Sorry, Matt.
So, all right.
All right, son.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.